That innocent shopping trip to your local grocery store might be more dangerous than you think. Behind those bright packages and fresh labels lie shocking secrets about mass production, questionable ingredients, and manufacturing processes that would make you question everything in your cart. The FDA allows over 14,000 food additives in American grocery stores, yet only 9 are banned in the European Union for safety concerns. From pre-washed salads crawling with bacteria to bottled water that's just filtered tap water sold at 3,000 times the cost, the products you trust most are hiding disturbing truths. Here are 15 products you'll never buy again once you discover what's really inside them. Let's start with something that seems completely harmless, sitting in your refrigerator right now. Pre-packaged salad mixes. Those crisp, convenient bags of pre-washed lettuce sitting in your refrigerator's crisper drawer represent one of the food industry's most deceptive marketing campaigns. Every year, millions of Americans reach for these seemingly healthy options, trusting that triple washed and ready-to-eat labels guarantee safety. The reality is far more disturbing. In 2022 alone, the CDC linked over 40 E. coli cases directly to contaminated bagged salads, with victims ranging from college students to elderly adults who simply wanted a quick, healthy meal. The problem isn't just occasional contamination, it's built into the entire system. Those massive processing facilities where your greens get their thorough washing handle millions of pounds of produce daily, creating perfect breeding grounds for cross-contamination. Here's what the industry doesn't want you to know about that washing process. Your lettuce gets dunked in chlorinated water, containing up to 200 parts per million of chlorine, levels that would make a swimming pool unsafe for human use. This chemical bath doesn't just remove dirt, it strips away beneficial bacteria that naturally protect against harmful pathogens while simultaneously destroying water-soluble vitamins like vitamin C and folate. A former quality control supervisor at a major processing plant revealed that triple washed is pure marketing speak. We'd see the same washed water used for multiple batches, she explained. Bacteria like E. coli can survive chlorine treatment, especially when it's hiding in the microscopic crevices of cut lettuce leaves. The numbers are staggering. Studies show that bagged lettuce loses up to 40% of its nutritional value within 72 hours of processing. Yet these products can sit on shelves for up to 14 days. You're paying premium prices for wilted nutrition and potential food poisoning. If these supposedly fresh vegetables harbor such risks, what about those creamy, probiotic-rich dairy products that promise to boost your health? Commercial yogurt cups. Those creamy yogurt cups marketed as healthy breakfast options are actually desserts disguised as health food. Walk down any grocery aisle and you'll see brands promising probiotics, protein, and natural goodness. What you won't see on those colorful labels is that a single 6-ounce container of flavored yogurt contains between 20 and 30 grams of sugar, more than a Snickers bar. The deception runs deeper than just sugar content. That thick, creamy texture you associate with quality yogurt, it's often created by carrageenan, a seaweed-derived additive that's been linked to digestive inflammation and gut irritation in multiple studies. The European Union requires warning labels on foods containing carrageenan, yet American manufacturers add it freely to create the illusion of premium texture. Here's where it gets truly disturbing. Those live and active cultures that justify yogurt's health halo often don't survive the pasteurization process required for shelf stability. A 2023 analysis by the International Dairy Foods Association found that over 60% of commercial yogurts contain fewer live cultures than claimed on their labels. Some contain none at all. A former quality control manager at a major yogurt manufacturer revealed the industry's dirty secret. We'd add thickeners, artificial flavors, and enough sugar to mask the sour taste of cheap, low-quality milk. The probiotic cultures were added for marketing purposes, but the high-heat processing killed most of them before the product ever reached stores. The math is simple. You're paying premium prices for what amounts to sugary pudding with artificial thickeners, consuming more sugar in one healthy breakfast than you should have in an entire day. The bacterial cultures that might actually benefit your digestive system are long dead by the time you open that container. Speaking of breakfast choices that seem wholesome but hide disturbing secrets, let's examine what's really inside those colorful cereal boxes that dominate morning routines across America. Breakfast cereals. Those bright cereal boxes lining grocery store aisles represent one of the most successful marketing deceptions in food history. Parents reach for brands promising whole grains, essential vitamins, and energy for growing kids, believing they're making responsible breakfast choices. The harsh reality is that you're feeding your family a chemical cocktail that would be illegal to sell in most developed countries. A comprehensive 2023 study by the Environmental Working Group tested 45 popular cereals and found glyphosate residues in 95% of samples. This probable carcinogen, banned for agricultural use in dozens of countries, showed up in levels exceeding safe limits for children in brands like Cheerios, Lucky Charms, and Quaker Oats. Your morning bowl isn't just breakfast, it's pesticide soup. The colorful appeal that draws children to these products comes from artificial dyes that European regulators have banned or require cancer warning labels. Studies show these additives can trigger symptoms resembling ADHD in otherwise healthy children within hours of consumption. Those fortified with essential vitamins claims are equally misleading. The synthetic vitamins sprayed onto processed cereals are poorly absorbed by your body compared to nutrients from whole foods. Meanwhile, many cereals marketed as healthy options contain more sugar per serving than Frosted Donuts. A bowl of Raisin Bran delivers 20 grams of sugar, while a glazed donut contains only 12. A former food scientist from a major cereal manufacturer admitted that whole grain labels often mean less than 10% actual whole grains, with the rest being refined flour and chemical additives designed to extend shelf life for months. But if breakfast cereals are contaminated with pesticides and artificial chemicals, the processed meats that fill lunch boxes and dinner plates harbor even more disturbing secrets about their origins and production methods. Deli meat slices. That convenient deli counter where you grab sliced turkey and ham for sandwiches operates as a bacterial breeding ground disguised as fresh food service. Those gleaming display cases and uniformed workers create an illusion of cleanliness, but the reality behind pre-sliced deli meats reveals contamination risks that have killed dozens of Americans in recent years. In 2022, a listeria outbreak traced to contaminated deli turkey killed 3 people and hospitalized 23 others across 6 states. The CDC investigation revealed that listeria bacteria had colonized slicing equipment at multiple facilities, cross-contaminating thousands of pounds of meat before anyone noticed. This wasn't an isolated incident. Listeria thrives in the cold, moist environment of deli cases and can survive for months on improperly cleaned surfaces. The preservatives keeping your lunch meat pink and appealing present their own health nightmare. Sodium nitrite, found in virtually all processed meats, converts into nitrosamines when it hits the acid in your stomach. These compounds are classified as probable human carcinogens by the World Health Organization, with studies linking regular consumption to increased risks of colorectal and stomach cancers. Even products labeled natural or uncured aren't safer. Manufacturers simply use celery powder, which contains naturally occurring nitrates that convert to the same harmful nitrites during processing. You're getting identical chemical exposure with deceptive marketing. A former deli manager at a major grocery chain revealed the unsanitary reality. Those slicing machines got a quick rinse between different meats, but deep cleaning happened maybe once a week. We'd slice ham right after turkey on the same blade, mixing whatever bacteria was growing on either product. The meat itself often comes from multiple animals processed together, exponentially increasing contamination risks. When dinner calls for ground beef, the situation becomes even more disturbing as hundreds of cattle get mixed into single batches. Pre-ground hamburger meat. That package of ground beef in your shopping cart represents one of the most dangerous gambles in modern food consumption. What appears to be simple hamburger meat is actually a complex mixture that can contain flesh from up to 400 different cattle, sourced from multiple countries and processed through facilities where contamination spreads like wildfire through entire production runs. The industrial meat grinding process takes scraps, trimmings, and lesser cuts from hundreds of animals and combines them into uniform-looking ground beef. A single E. coli-infected cow can contaminate thousands of pounds of meat, turning your family barbecue into a potential medical emergency. In 2023, major recalls affected over 2 million pounds of ground beef due to E. coli contamination. Yet these recalls only catch a fraction of tainted products. The notorious pink slime controversy revealed just how far processors will go to maximize profits from waste products. This ammonia-treated beef paste, made from fatty trimmings once used only for pet food, remains legal in most states despite public outcry. The ammonia treatment is supposed to kill bacteria, but studies show it's not 100% effective against all pathogens. A former USDA inspector who worked at major beef processing facilities for 15 years expose the inadequate testing protocols. We'd test maybe one sample per 10,000 pounds of ground beef. If contamination was in a different part of the batch, we'd never catch it. The system relies on hope more than science. The testing process itself is flawed. Results take up to a week to process, meaning potentially contaminated meat reaches store shelves and dinner tables before anyone knows there's a problem. By the time recalls are issued, families have already consumed tainted products, but ground beef isn't the only protein hiding disturbing production secrets. The fish counter presents an entirely different set of deceptions that might make you reconsider your next seafood dinner. Farm-raised salmon fillets. That beautiful pink salmon fillet you're considering for tonight's healthy dinner is actually gray meat artificially dyed to fool your eyes. Farm-raised salmon, which accounts for over 70% of salmon sold in American grocery stores, naturally produces flesh the color of concrete due to their unnatural diet of processed pellets instead of the krill and small fish that give wild salmon their vibrant hue. To create the appealing pink color consumers expect, fish farmers add astaxanthin, a synthetic pigment, directly to salmon feed. Farmers literally choose the shade of pink they want from a color wheel provided by chemical companies, like selecting paint samples for your living room. Without this artificial coloring, your salmon dinner would look as appetizing as wet cement. The deception goes far beyond cosmetics. Studies by the Environmental Working Group found that farmed salmon contains 5 times higher levels of PCBs, cancer-causing industrial chemicals, than wild salmon. These toxins accumulate in salmon tissue from contaminated fish, meal made from ground-up smaller fish caught in polluted waters. Overcrowded salmon pens create disease outbreaks that require massive antibiotic treatments. Norwegian salmon farms use more antibiotics per pound of fish than any livestock industry, with residues showing up in the final product. A 2022 investigation revealed that Chilean salmon operations dump waste equivalent to a city of 500,000 people directly into pristine coastal waters, creating dead zones where nothing can survive. Former salmon farm workers describe pens so crowded that fish can barely move, leading to stress-induced diseases, parasitic infections, and high mortality rates. The surviving fish are often deformed, with some developing spinal curvatures from the cramped conditions. Pre-cut fruit containers. Those convenient plastic containers of pre-cut pineapple, melon, and mixed fruit represent everything wrong with modern food processing. Disguised as healthy convenience, what looks like fresh fruit ready to eat is actually nutritionally depleted produce treated with chemicals to hide decomposition and processed in facilities where cross-contamination turns fruit salad into a disease vector. The moment fruit gets cut, its nutritional value begins plummeting. Research shows that vitamin C degrades by 50% within 24 hours of cutting, while other essential nutrients like folate and antioxidants break down even faster. By the time you buy that container of pre-cut strawberries, you're getting a fraction of the nutrition you'd receive from whole fruit cut at home. To mask this deterioration and extend shelf life, processors spray fruit with calcium chloride and citric acid solutions that artificially maintain color and texture while the actual fruit quality degrades. These treatments create an illusion of freshness that can fool consumers for weeks, long after the fruit should have been discarded. The cross-contamination risks are staggering. Processing facilities use the same cutting equipment, conveyor belts, and packaging lines for multiple fruit types without adequate sanitization between batches. In 2021, a hepatitis A outbreak sickened over 60 people across 4 states, traced directly to pre-cut melon processed in a facility that also handled other fruits. Former workers at major fruit processing plants described minimal hand-washing protocols, shared cutting boards between different fruit types, and produce that sits at room temperature for hours during processing. The FDA found that 43% of pre-cut fruit facilities failed basic sanitation inspections in 2023. You're paying premium prices for deteriorated nutrition and increased disease risk, all for the convenience of having someone else do 5 minutes of cutting. The frozen food aisle promises to solve freshness problems with flash freezing technology, but the truth about what gets frozen and how it's processed reveals equally disturbing compromises with quality and safety. Frozen chicken nuggets. Those golden chicken nuggets that kids beg for in the frozen food aisle contain barely any recognizable chicken meat. What you're actually buying is mechanically separated poultry, a pink paste made by forcing chicken carcasses through high-pressure machines that strip every bit of flesh, cartilage, and connective tissue from bones, creating a slurry that bears no resemblance to actual chicken. This process captures parts of the bird you'd never knowingly eat: spinal cord tissue, bone fragments, and organ remnants that get ground into the final product. Industry regulations allow up to 15% bone and cartilage content in mechanically separated poultry, meaning every bite contains pulverized skeleton mixed with whatever meat can be scraped from processing plant floors. To bulk up profits, manufacturers inject nuggets with phosphate additives that can increase water retention by up to 40%. You're literally paying chicken prices for chemically treated water. The breading surrounding this questionable meat paste often contains more calories than the chicken itself, loaded with partially hydrogenated oils and artificial preservatives. A former Tyson Foods quality control supervisor revealed the shocking reality. We'd see chicken that had been sitting around for days get processed into nuggets. The mechanically separated paste could contain anything: floor sweepings, feathers that didn't get removed, even pieces of plastic from packaging that fell into the machines. Laboratory analysis shows that some nugget brands contain less than 50% actual chicken meat, with the remainder being fillers, water, and chemical additives designed to mimic chicken texture and flavor. The pink slime gets formed into shapes, breaded, and frozen, transforming waste products into profitable, kid-friendly meals. But nuggets aren't the only processed food hiding inferior ingredients behind appealing packaging. Those innocent-looking soup cans in your pantry contain their own disturbing collection of chemicals and shortcuts. Canned soup. That comforting bowl of canned soup you reach for on busy weeknights delivers a sodium bomb that exceeds your entire daily recommended intake in a single serving. The average can of commercial soup contains 2,500 milligrams of sodium, more than the American Heart Association's daily limit of 2,300 milligrams, turning what seems like a healthy meal into a recipe for high blood pressure and cardiovascular disease. The excessive salt serves multiple purposes beyond flavor enhancement. It acts as a cheap preservative, allowing soup to sit on shelves for years, while masking the taste of low-quality ingredients and artificial additives. Many popular brands use more sodium per serving than fast food burgers, yet market themselves as wholesome family meals. The can itself poses additional health risks through BPA exposure. This chemical, used in can linings to prevent corrosion, leaches directly into soup during storage and heating. Studies link BPA exposure to hormonal disruption, early puberty in children, and increased cancer risks. Even BPA-free cans often contain similar chemicals like BPS that show identical health concerns. Manufacturers try to address sodium concerns with low-sodium versions, but these products rely on potassium chloride as a salt substitute, creating a bitter metallic taste that requires additional artificial flavors to mask. The soup base itself is often nothing more than MSG, artificial chicken or beef flavoring, and chemical thickeners designed to simulate homemade taste. A former Campbell's production manager revealed the reality behind soup manufacturing. The vegetables were often the lowest grade available, sometimes past their prime. We'd add enough salt and artificial flavoring to make anything taste good, knowing most people wouldn't read the nutrition labels. While soup promises comfort and nutrition, the snack food industry takes deception to entirely new levels with manufacturing processes that would shock even the most jaded consumer. Flavored potato chips. That satisfying crunch of flavored potato chips comes with a hidden cost that extends far beyond empty calories. The high-heat frying process that creates their appealing texture also generates acrylamide, a chemical compound so dangerous that European regulators have set strict limits on its presence in food. American potato chips routinely contain acrylamide levels that exceed EU safety standards by 300%, yet remain perfectly legal to sell. Acrylamide forms naturally when starchy foods like potatoes are cooked at temperatures above 240 degrees Fahrenheit. This probable human carcinogen accumulates in your body over time, with studies linking regular consumption to increased risks of kidney, endometrial, and ovarian cancers. The darker and crispier the chip, the higher the acrylamide content. Those bold flavors that make chips irresistible come from synthetic chemicals designed to trigger addictive eating responses. Natural flavors listed on ingredient labels are often identical molecules created in laboratories from petroleum byproducts, not extracted from actual food sources. The barbecue flavor on your chips likely contains more than 50 different chemical compounds, none of which have ever been near a grill. Despite 0 grams trans fat claims on packaging, many chips still contain these dangerous fats through a labeling loophole. Manufacturers can legally claim zero trans fats if each serving contains less than half a gram, but regular chip consumption easily exceeds this threshold, delivering significant trans fat intake over time. A former Frito-Lay process engineer revealed how cost-cutting measures compromise quality. We'd switch to cheaper oil blends without changing labels, use lower-grade potatoes when supply costs rose, and adjust seasoning formulas to maximize profit margins while maintaining addictive taste profiles. Even the seemingly wholesome bakery section, with its promise of fresh-baked goodness and artisanal quality, relies on industrial chemicals and preservatives that extend shelf life far beyond what nature intended. Store-bought bread loaves. That soft, pillowy bread loaf that stays fresh for weeks in your pantry achieves its unnatural longevity through a cocktail of industrial chemicals that would horrify bakers from previous generations. Modern commercial bread contains dough conditioners and preservatives so powerful they prevent the natural decomposition process that should occur in genuine baked goods within days. The most disturbing ingredient is L-cysteine, an amino acid used to soften dough and speed production. While it sounds scientific and harmless, this additive is primarily sourced from human hair collected from barbershops and hair salons, particularly in China, where it's processed and exported worldwide. When human hair supplies run low, manufacturers turn to duck feathers as an alternative source, but hair remains the preferred option due to lower costs. Even more shocking is the presence of azotic carbonamide, a chemical compound also used in yoga mats and shoe rubber. This flour improver helps create bread's fluffy texture, but breaks down during baking to form semicarbazide and ethyl carbamate, both potential carcinogens. The European Union and Australia have banned azotic carbonamide in food products, yet it remains legal in American bread. Calcium propionate, the preservative responsible for bread's extended shelf life, can trigger behavioral problems and attention difficulties in children, according to multiple studies. This mold inhibitor allows bread to sit on shelves for up to 3 weeks without spoiling, creating an illusion of freshness long after nutritional value has degraded. Traditional bread making relied on wild yeast cultures that provided beneficial bacteria and enhanced nutrient absorption. Industrial yeast used in commercial production lacks these beneficial properties, creating empty calories wrapped in chemical-laden packaging. The deception continues in the dessert aisle, where colorful packages of cookies and cakes promise indulgent treats but deliver an even more concentrated dose of questionable ingredients and synthetic additives. Packaged cookies and cakes. Those tempting packages of cookies and cakes promising home-style goodness contain industrial fats and preservatives that make petroleum-based products seem edible by comparison. When trans fats were banned from American food products, manufacturers didn't eliminate dangerous fats. They simply replaced them with equally harmful alternatives that fly under regulatory radar. Intraesterified fats now dominate commercial baked goods, created by chemically rearranging molecular structures of oils to mimic trans fat properties. Early studies suggest these engineered fats may be even worse than trans fats, raising blood glucose levels and reducing insulin response more dramatically than their banned predecessors. You're consuming experimental chemistry disguised as familiar comfort food. The preservative TBHQ, found in nearly every packaged cookie and cake, shares chemical properties with petroleum-based varnish and paint thinner. This antioxidant prevents rancidity but accumulates in fatty tissues over time. The FDA allows up to 0.02% TBHQ in foods, yet long-term exposure studies remain incomplete, making consumers unwitting test subjects in a massive chemistry experiment. High fructose corn syrup triggers addiction-like responses in the brain more powerfully than regular sugar, activating reward pathways that encourage compulsive eating. Neuroimaging studies show that HFCS consumption patterns mirror those seen in substance addiction, explaining why you can't stop at just one cookie. A former Little Debbie factory worker exposed the industry's deceptive freshness claims. Those snack cakes would sit in warehouses for months before distribution. The preservatives were so strong that products stamped with expiration dates 6 months away were actually manufactured the previous year. Nothing fresh ever came out of those production lines. The beverages you reach for to wash down these chemical-laden treats carry their own disturbing secrets, with sports drinks and flavored waters containing additives that sound more like laboratory experiments than refreshing beverages. Flavored sports drinks. Those brightly colored sports drinks that promise peak athletic performance are actually chemical cocktails that can worsen dehydration while delivering petroleum-derived dyes directly into your bloodstream. The vivid blues, reds, and oranges that make these beverages visually appealing come from artificial colors synthesized from coal tar, the same substance used to manufacture roofing materials and industrial solvents. Blue number 1 and red number 40, the most common dyes in sports drinks, require warning labels in European countries due to links with hyperactivity and behavioral problems in children. These petroleum derivatives accumulate in body tissues over time, yet American manufacturers add them freely to create product differentiation in a market where taste and function are nearly identical across brands. The electrolyte replacement claims that justify sports drinks' premium pricing are largely fraudulent. Most contain sodium levels between 100 and 200 milligrams per bottle, far below the 700 milligrams lost in an average hour of exercise. For 90% of recreational athletes, these drinks actually impede proper hydration by providing insufficient sodium to trigger the body's fluid retention mechanisms. Brominated vegetable oil, used as a stabilizer to prevent separation, contains bromine compounds banned in European Union beverages due to potential organ damage and nervous system effects. This flame-retardant chemical accumulates in fatty tissues and has been linked to memory loss and skin lesions in people who consume large quantities of sports drinks. A former Gatorade research scientist revealed the industry's deceptive marketing foundation. Our studies showed that water worked just as well as sports drinks for 95% of consumers, but we couldn't build a billion-dollar industry selling water. The entire sports drink market relies on convincing people they need chemical enhancement for basic hydration. The most shocking revelation involves a product so universally trusted that questioning its safety seems almost absurd. Yet this final item may represent the greatest deception of all. Bottled water. That crystal clear bottled water you trust as the purest, safest beverage option represents perhaps the most audacious marketing deception in modern history. 45% of bottled water sold in America is simply filtered municipal tap water. The same H2O flowing from your kitchen faucet, repackaged in plastic containers and sold at markup rates exceeding 3,000%. Major brands like Aquafina and Dasani openly admit their products originate from public water supplies, yet consumers pay premium prices believing they're purchasing superior hydration. The purification process often involves basic carbon filtration and reverse osmosis, technologies available in home filtration systems costing a fraction of bottled water's annual expense. The plastic containers themselves contaminate the very water they're designed to protect. Research by Orb Media found microplastics in 93% of tested bottled water brands, with contamination levels nearly twice as high as tap water. These microscopic particles infiltrate human tissue and accumulate in organs over time, with unknown long-term health consequences. Even BPA-free bottles contain alternative chemicals like BPS and BPF that demonstrate identical hormone-disrupting properties as their banned predecessor. Heat exposure during shipping and storage accelerates chemical leaching, meaning summer purchases deliver concentrated doses of endocrine disruptors along with your hydration. The environmental devastation compounds the health concerns. Manufacturing a single plastic water bottle requires 3 times more water than the bottle contains, while petroleum-based production processes release toxic chemicals into air and groundwater. Americans discard 60 million plastic bottles daily, creating massive waste streams that persist in ecosystems for centuries. Former Nestlé executives have admitted that bottled water's success relies entirely on manufactured fear about tap water safety, despite municipal water facing stricter testing requirements than bottled alternatives. Now that you've discovered what's really inside these 15 products, the path forward becomes clear. The path forward. The knowledge you've gained about these 15 deceptive products doesn't have to leave you feeling helpless or overwhelmed. Practical alternatives exist that can transform your shopping habits without sacrificing convenience or breaking your budget. The key lies in making strategic changes that prioritize quality over marketing claims and building new relationships with food sources you can actually trust. Local farmers markets offer the most direct path to genuine food quality. Vendors selling produce picked within 24 hours provide nutrition levels that surpass any grocery store option, while allowing you to ask questions about growing practices and pesticide use. Studies show that farmers market produce contains up to 40% higher vitamin content than supermarket equivalents that have traveled thousands of miles. Learning to read ingredient labels effectively takes just minutes, but pays dividends for years. Any product with more than 5 ingredients likely contains unnecessary additives. If you can't pronounce an ingredient or don't recognize it as food, your body probably can't process it effectively either. This simple rule eliminates 90% of problematic processed foods automatically. Home preparation doesn't require culinary expertise or excessive time investment. Washing and cutting fresh vegetables takes 5 minutes versus buying pre-cut options. Making simple bread requires 4 ingredients and minimal hands-on time. A basic water filtration system costs less than 6 months of bottled water purchases while delivering superior quality for years. Building relationships with local butchers, bakers, and produce suppliers creates accountability that corporate manufacturers can't match. These vendors stake their reputations on quality because their customer base is personal and local. When you know where your food comes from and who prepared it, you regain control over what enters your body and your family's health destiny.